Hi class. In this video we're going to look at some examples that are similar to the homework for chapter 29. So this one says the standard cost card for a unit of production at the Cleaner Corp shows the following standard cost information. So we've got materials, labor, and overhead. That's their standards. And then it says they completed a job in October. It was the only job they had, and 6,000 units were produced. And we've got some actual costs. So we are to calculate some variances between the actual cost and the standard cost for the month. So we've got materials, and this chart's a little odd, but we've got a column for standard and a column for actual and a line for standard and a line for actual. So our materials for our standard cost would be let's see. Well, 12,000 gallons, which is the standard amount that we should use, 2 gallons per item, whatever it is they're making. So they created 6,000 units of whatever, and they should, by standards, use 2 gallons each. So that's 12,000 gallons, and the standard cost per gallon is $11 per gallon. So if we take 12,000 gallons at $11 a gallon, that gives us a standard cost for materials of $132,000. For our materials, our actual cost, and we don't actually have to do math because they thankfully gave us that, so that our actual cost, we used more gallons than we should have, and it cost us $11.10 instead of $11. So we've got some variance there. So our actual cost is given, it's $132,000. I'm sorry, $135,420. All right. Okay, our labor, we've got to do our standard and our actual. So we should have 5 hours per each unit that we manufactured. We manufactured 6,000 units, and it should be 5 hours per unit. So 6,000 units times 5 hours. Our standard should have been 30,000 hours. And our standard cost is $16 per hour. So we take 30,000 hours times $16 an hour is $480,000. Over zero there. And our actual costs are up here, and they're given $484,610. And our overhead, our standard amount is 80% of our direct labor standard. So our direct labor standard was $480,000, and our standard, our percentage of manufacturing overhead should be 80% of that. So that's $384,000. So all I did was take the percentage and multiply that by the standard labor, which is the 480. And then our actual, still 80% of direct labor hours, but we used more in hours, and we had more of an actual, it was 10 cents more than what we had anticipated. So that's given is $387,688. All right, so our variance is just the difference between these two. And if we take the difference, it's $11,718. And then we have to decide whether it's favorable or unfavorable, or if it was zero, it'd be neither. Oops. So Our standard costs were $996,000. That's what we had anticipated our cost would be for 6,000 units. Our actual costs were over $1 million, so we actually spent more than we thought we would, so that's not good. If you think about your own personal life, if you spend more than you thought you were going to, that's not favorable, so it's unfavorable. So let's look at 8. And my numbers are different than yours, but the next one is standard cost card for a unit of production at Cleaner Corp. So it's following standards. We've got some more standards. And I said it's like the same amount. During the month of October, they completed the one job. They completed 6,000 units, and we've got some actual costs. So we are calculating the rate variance for labor for the month. So this is looking at the actual rate that we paid for the hourly pay, not the number of hours that was the difference. Because we had, remember, there's two things that are different in the labor. We used 30,100 hours when we had anticipated only using 30,000, and we had anticipated paying $16 an hour, and we actually paid $16.10. But in this question, we're looking at the rate, which is that $16 and the $16.10. So our standard was $16 and our actual was $16.10. The actual hours we used was 30,100 hours. So the total rate variance for labor is the difference between the standard and the actual, which is 10 cents per actual hour that was different, times the total number of hours. So that's $3,010. And we paid more than what we thought, so again, that's unfavorable. So basically take the difference between the standard and the actual and multiply that difference by the actual number of hours, and that's going to be your rate variance. So let's go and do one more. This one says the accountant of Venus Health Products has compiled the following information about direct labor hours and indirect labor costs for the month. So we've got some direct labor hours and indirect labor costs, and we're doing the high-low method in this one. So requirement 1 says compute the monthly fixed cost and variable cost per hour using the high-low point method. And then we're to compute the estimated total indirect labor cost if 2,500 hours of direct labor are employed during the month. And we've got a ton of tabs, but thankfully none of them have too much in them. So for the high-low method, you're going to look at the chart and find the month with the highest amount and the month with the lowest amount. So if we look under direct labor hours for the highest amount, looks like May comes in at the highest, and if we find the lowest, looks like February's the lowest. So we've got May is the high, and February's the low. And at that point, you're just going to take the amounts that are up here. So May is 3,140 and 8,778, and then February's 1,500 and 6,400. So you're just going to transfer those amounts down. And that chart is done. So requirement B says calculate the fixed cost per month. So our total cost would be the variable, would be the fixed cost and the variable cost. So if we know our total cost and we can subtract out our variable cost, that will tell us what our fixed costs are. So our total cost let's see. Our total cost, and we're going to use the high month. So the total cost for the high month for indirect labor is $8,778. And then we need to subtract out our variable cost to figure out our fixed cost, but we've got to do a calculation to do that. To do the calculation, we're going to take these totals from the first chart. So we're looking at the difference in the high-low. So you're looking at the differential between your indirect labor cost and the difference in your direct labor hours. And we're going to divide those to get a rate. So we're basically getting an amount of indirect labor per direct labor hours. So to do that, you're going to take the difference in cost, which is $2,378, and divide that by 1,640 hours, and that's going to give you an amount per hour. And the amount per hour with the numbers that I was given is $1.45. So if we take the $1.45, and that's the amount of indirect labor costs per hour, and we're going to use the high number of hours that we're given. So we're going to take 3,140 hours and multiply that by the $1.45 to get an amount over here. So $1.45 by 3,000 times 3,140 hours gives us a total variable cost of $4,553. So then the difference in those two would be the fixed. So I'm just going to go back over that again. To get that amount per hour, you're going to divide direct labor cost divided by the difference in hours gives you a rate, and then multiply that rate by the number of hours you used in the high month. And that one's done. So let's see, requirement 1C is what I just said. So we're going to we took the difference in cost and divided it by the difference in hours, and those were these. So our difference in cost was $2,378. Our difference in hours was 1,640, and there's our $1.45. All right, requirement 2, compute the estimated total indirect labor cost if 2,500 hours of direct labor are employed during the month. So our variable cost would be the $1.45 times the 2,500 hours. So $1.45 times 2,500 hours is $3,625. That's our variable cost. Our fixed cost we calculated somewhere right here. 4,225, that's what you calculated in requirement 1B, so just bring that over here. They're fixed, so they're not going to vary. So our estimated total indirect labor cost are the total of those two. And our analyze. What percentage of total cost for May is attributed to variable costs? So for May, trying to remember where that was. I think that was right here. So this says we used the high month, and the high month was May. So our variable costs were $4,553. Our total costs were $8,778. So if we get a ratio for that, we're going to take the variable cost divided by the total cost, and that's going to give us a percent. And the percentage I come up with is 51.9%. So let's see, it says around to 1 decimal place. So make sure that took it like that. Yeah. So that's how you're going to do that one. That's just a few examples from the chapter. If you get stuck on anything, just send me an email and I will try to help.